Hey, Kevin here, top 100 financial advisor, two-time author, one-time bestseller, and we are here to talk about the stock market. This is our third and final piece of options, option trading, and why people are so invested in them, for lack of a better term, and why they're so important and what they mean. We talked in part one about what options are. We talked about calls. We talked about puts. And then in lesson two, we talked about trading options, which is probably one of my favorite ways to make money in the option game. So I'm going to just rehash very quickly what we talked about in part two and give you a real life example that happened to me between Thursday and Monday, which ironically enough was the day that my daughter was born. Is one of my biggest option trades, which was really cool. So I want to explain that and answer a few questions as well. Someone asked, well, how do you know, how do you get out of option trade? Just click the sell button, the same as you would any other stock. So as you see here, the benefit of options is that it is what I like to call leverage. So you can take a little bit of money and make more than what you invested, but also it is a little different in that I don't need to invest as much as if I own the stock outright. I'm going to explain that in just a second. So as you see here, NEM at the time was, and this was an example, I think at the time I bought it was $65 a share, but in this example it was $63 a share and the stock goes up 1%. So you essentially made, or what you actually made is 63 cents. That ain't nothing to write home about. That's not a big deal. Nobody really cares that you made 63 cents. That doesn't really do you any good. If you wanted to make $63 on that day, then you would have needed to, let me move this out the way, invest $6,300. This is going to cost you $6,300 because you need 100 shares. You take 100 times 63 cents, then you made, hooray, $63. Still not all that great. However, options can allow you to take a smaller amount of money and make the same, if not more, than had you bought the stock outright. So in this example, we bought a call option, which means we think the stock is going up, and we bought it at 63, and we're not going to use the option. We're just going to just hold on to it and then sell it to someone else because we know that that insurance contract is going to become more valuable. So in this case, we bought the option contract for $630. So instead of spending $6,300, we're only spending $630. And when the stock went up 1%, this option went up 10%. That's that leverage I'm talking about. And we made the same $63 by only investing $630. So you can see I took this much money, made the exact same amount, than someone spending $6,000 on the same derivative. And I don't like using those terms, but someone who used the option based on the stock, I made the same amount of money you did, but I spent a lot less money doing that. So I'm the winner in this situation. Why am I the winner? Because I took a lot smaller risk and got the exact same profit. So if I had lost money, $630 is not the worst thing in the world versus $6,000. That's a much bigger deal. So let's go down and give you an example of an actual option trade that I did and what happened during that time. So I actually bought an option on NEM, and the stock at the time was, I think, like $63. I'm actually going to put bought here. Bought it at 63, and this is the stock, right? And then sold at 65, which means that our profit was $2, and our gain, zoom out a bit, profit is $2, and our gain, I think it's around 5% or so. I'm just going to double check the math here. 65. For those that don't know percentage change, here we go. So we made $2 divided by 63, which is our original number. It's around 3%. So I'm just going to put 3% to make it simple. All right. So I made, or would have made, if I bought the shares outright, and let me reduce this. There we go. All right. So if I bought the stock outright, I would have bought it at 63, sold it at 65. I would have made $2. Now, if I had 10 shares, then $20, 200 shares, 200, so on and so forth. But the option, call on NEM, at this time, I think I spent, I think it was like 700. And let's see, let's do it this way. And then we sold it at 850. Profit is $150. And then our gain, what is that gain? It's like 21%, if I'm not mistaken. It's 150, oops, 150. You guys can't see the calculator, but I do have one. I just want to make sure that I have all my numbers right. Yeah, 21% gain. Okay, 21, 21%, not $21. 21%. And I still added the percent sign, like I didn't just say it. All right, so at the time, this was between like Thursday, what day was that? Thursday the 13th through the 17th, August 17th, which is when my daughter was born. So if I bought the stock, bought it at 63, sold it at 65 at Monday, I would have made $2. What I did instead was I bought the option. I bought an option contract at $700, or it was at, it cost me $700 and I sold it at $850. So I made a $150 gain, which was 21%. Now here's the leverage part and why people would like to trade options, or at least think about it. Because if I wanted to, and the numbers aren't going to shake out exactly, for me to get something close to that, if I'm trying to make $150, right? My goal is I want to make $150 from this stock, but I want to buy the stock. How many shares do you then have to buy? Right? I need to buy, what is that? 75 shares. 75 times 2 gives us 150, right? So that means, let me see this here. So that means if I wanted to make the exact same 150, but I want to own the stock, then I now need to have, that's $63 times, what did we just say? 75 shares. That's going to cost me 63 times 75. That's going to cost me $4,725. That's a lot of money. It's a lot more money. If I wanted to get the exact same $150 profit. So if I'm going to make $150 from one trade, which one am I going to do? Am I going to get, $4,725 and hope the stock just goes up $2? Or can I get one option and make the $150 by risking a whole lot less money? That's why people trade options. And I could have done, 2 or 3 or 4 options, which is equivalent to, remember, every one option represents 100 shares. So then you're really controlling a lot of shares in that case. So that's why people trade options, and that's what we had talked about in part 2. Now today, I want to discuss more about what we call covered calls, and that is I would consider an easy way to make money in the market as well. So covered calls. Y'all know my handwriting ain't all the best on this screen, so please bear with me. All right, in covered calls, this is simple. What you are doing is, first, number one, you have to own 100 shares of the stock. So that's step one. Step one. I don't really like that. Let's do it this way. Step one, own 100 shares of the stock. So this is what makes covered calls a little more cost prohibitive. It is some people would consider it a relatively safe way to make money with options. I would tend to agree. It all depends on how you do it. But, if you don't have thousands of dollars, it's going to make it a little more difficult to do. But I'm going to show you still why people would like to do it. So first, you need to own 100 shares of the stock. The way that this works is you are selling this option. You're not buying it. You are selling it, which means if someone uses that option contract, they buy it from you and they use it, Remember, that gives them the right to buy it from you at a certain price. If they're buying it from you, they're going to use it for those 100 shares. So you have to own 100 shares of that stock. Now, step two is sell a call option contract. A call option contract. All right, so I have 100 shares of the stock. I've got that now, and this you can do this really easy on like a TD Ameritrade. You just go and it'll give you a list of options, and you say click sell, and you'll sell that option. So you get paid for selling that option, and then step three is either your option is called or you just sell it again the next month. All right, hard for me to talk and write at the same time. So these are the three basic steps of covered calls. Step one, you need to own 100 shares of whatever stock that you're going to sell insurance on. You can't sell insurance on something you don't own. That's a very dangerous thing for you to do. So number one, own 100 shares of whatever you're going to sell. Step two, you sell that option contract. Hey, look, I got 100 shares. I'll sell it to you at whatever price. You get paid for that. And then if it actually hits that price, then guess what? You got to sell that stock, which hopefully for you is a good thing. I'll show you why. And then number two, if it doesn't hit that level, then you get to sell that contract again the next month and again and again and again, and you get paid every single month so long as it doesn't hit that level. So let's talk about exactly what that means. So for example, and I'm going to make these numbers very simple. So, don't freak out about, well, that stock isn't that much. Like, don't worry about it. All right, so for example, let's say Apple is $100 a share. So step one is I need to own $100 of Apple. I need to own 100 shares of Apple, which is going to cost me $10,000. So that's number one why some people can't do options, don't want to do options, because it's going to cost you some money, right? All right, so first, step one, buy $10,000 of Apple. All right, so that's the first thing. We bought $10,000 worth of Apple. We got the money. We've got the shares, and I think that Apple is a good company. I think Apple is going to go up. You don't want to buy covered calls on or you don't want to sell covered calls rather on a stock that you don't think is good. Because if you are selling it, you think that it's going to go up eventually, but I got a good stock. So if it doesn't go up, I still want to own this company. Do not buy an option on a company that you think is trash because you own 100 shares of it. You put $10,000 in it. Don't buy $10,000 or 100 shares of anything that you don't think is good. So do know that, all right? So step two, we are going to sell a call option and you pick the price. So let's say I bought it at 100. I'm not gonna sell insurance on Apple at $100. That doesn't make sense to me, right? I like Apple. I want to make some money off it. So what I would say is, and we're just making these prices up, sell call option for 100 and let's just say $20 a share. So if Apple hits $120 a share, I have to sell this person my stock. I have to give up my $10,000 of Apple stock. That's how it works. All right. That's how it works. And then step three, and we're going to go through some examples. I'm going to underline that. Step three is either you are called out or we just sell again next month. Now, why do we do it next month and not like the next day? That is because options expire on like the third Friday of the month, something real weird. But you can't sell two option contracts on the exact same asset. That's like saying, well, you only got 100 shares. If you sell it twice, you got two people that want to get it, and you only got 100 shares. So you're really going to run into trouble there. So you can only sell it once a month. So it kind of gives you a monthly income. All right. So for example, all right, we bought Apple. I like to do it this way. This is how I studied for my exams when we did it. I know it's kind of a weird example. All right. So we got Apple at $100. And we spent $10,000. Great. All right. So, and then we sell. Actually, let me move this up a bit. That didn't help me at all. Let's do it this way. And okay. Sell call at 120. And this is going to give me, because anytime you sell a call, you get paid. And I'm just throwing a number out there. So, you know, all these numbers, you're not always going to get $1,000 every time you sell. But let's just say you got $1,000. Okay. So this is $1,000 profit that goes into my pocket. So every time that I sell an option, this $1,000, that's all me. So if the stock goes to, let's say 105, guess what? They're not going to use the option contract because they're not going to benefit from it. They bought insurance to buy it at 120. So they lost money on the insurance contract. That $1,000 goes to me. The next month, I'm going to sell it again. I'm going to get another $1,000 or so. And let's say at this point, the stock goes down. And the stock goes down to, let's say, 90. Now, my $10,000 is actually a little bit lower now. Remember that. But I still get this $1,000 anyway, because they bought the contract for me. They thought it was going to go up. So in this case, as long as the stock doesn't go above 120, I'm going to get paid every single time that I'm selling this option contract every month. Very good, easy way for me to get paid. The other good thing too is it's Apple, and at least at the time we're doing this video, it's a very solid company. So you're not in a bad position. So you can still get the dividends from this. You can sell these calls. You can get $1,000 a month or whatever the price is in real life, and that's great. But what happens if it goes above the 120? What happens then? Well, if it goes up to 120, which is what my son says now, it's like, well, let's say the stock goes up to 150 now. Now you have to sell the stock that you had, which is still in this case, it's still a good thing for you. Why is it a good thing for you? You bought it for $100 a share. So what you get in this case is you made $50 a share times 100. So you got 5,000 profit from the stock. All right, you got 5,000 profit from the stock. You bought it at 100. You sold it at 50. And you got 100 shares. So 50 shares times 100. You got $5,000 from that, and you still got the $1,000 that you made from selling the option contract. So you would have gotten 1,000 here. Option contract, and you would have gotten $6,000 total. And that's how a covered call works. That's basically it. So you would have gotten $6,000 off this. If you just owned the stock by itself, you would have only gotten the 5,000. But that's it. That's it. Super simple. I probably should have started with that one and flipped the two examples. But that's basically it. You own 100 shares. You sell a contract on it. If the contract, if you sell it at a certain price, and that's the thing, you pick the price. So I could have said I bought it at 100. I'm gonna sell the contract for 110. So when it passes 110, I gotta sell it. I'm only gonna make $1,000 plus $1,000 that I did the contract for. But it kind of gives me a good way to make monthly income. So if I pick a stock or pick a price that's probably not gonna hit, I get to own the stock. It gets to do whatever it's gonna do, and these people are gonna pay me every month because they really and truly think it's gonna go past 150. If it does go past 150. Guess what? I am still getting paid from that too. So that's how a covered call works. The only way a covered call can go wrong is, number one, you don't own 100 shares. That will certainly mess you up. But number two, you own 100 shares and the stock just continues to fall and fall and fall, because that $1,000 that you're getting every month is going to change, because nobody's going to want that contract like that. So it's going to become less valuable. So what you were selling for $1,000 a month is probably going to be like $200, $400, $5, whatever it is. It's just not going to be fun for you anymore. Or it's not going to be profitable for you anymore. So that's the good and bad in covered calls. All right, so that is it for today. I know it was a lot of math. Even though I was a math teacher, I don't like not doing it in person, because it makes it very difficult to like have questions on kind of stuff. All right, so going all the way back from part one, we have options. That is the right to buy or sell at a certain price. We've got calls, which means we think the stock is going to go up, and we got puts, I mean, we think the stock is going to go down. If I got a call, it gives you the right to buy at a certain price, which means here, this person got a right to buy Apple from us at 150, which means they buy it from 150, they think it's going to go even higher. So that they have the right to buy it from us, in this case, at 150. So you can buy a call option. You can also sell, which means I can sell a call option, which means I'm going to get paid for that. And then you have the opposite side of the transaction, which is a put option. Put options mean I think the stock is going to go down, so I can sell it to you right here, even though the stock is way down here. So a way to kind of, what people like to say is hedge your bets. Again, not a phrase I like to use, but it's a way of kind of having insurance in the market. The reason people do it is because it is leveraged. That means that I can spend very little money and make much larger profits in comparison to, and this is the key word, in comparison to owning the shares outright. And that's what we had, scroll up real quick. That's what we had for NEM, which was here. So if I bought the stock itself, if I bought one share of NEM at that point in time, I would have made $2. Who cares? If I bought one option, I would have made $150. That is a huge difference. And for me to get the exact same profit, the exact same $150 profit, I would need to spend $4,725. That's crazy. Like, why would I risk that much money to make the same thing when I could have made that exact same money using $700? That is the benefit of it. Now, risk. What are the risks? Again, options are very volatile. That means that if the stock went down just $2, then I could went from 700 to 650. So the losses and gains can be magnified. I've been in option trades where, I look up in a minute, I'm up, like, yay, I made $200, and then I turn around and it's down like 800. That happens. So it is not for everybody at all. I will also say that from an advisory perspective, because a lot of people, unless you have sat and looked at $1 million accounts like I have, you don't really know. You can only guess at what people are investing in and how they're doing it. You don't see options the majority of the time. There are millionaires who do it. I know some of them. Some of them are also popular on Instagram and other things. There are some are very, very good at this. Tila Holcomb is one of my favorites. She does very, very well in options, but it's still not the majority. So I would say maybe 20% or so of billionaires use options in some capacity, not full time. I actually never saw a millionaire, and I've seen dozens and dozens of them do options full time. So do know that. So you may see flashy stuff on Instagram, and that's great, provided that it's true, and in some cases it is, but I always know it's just a tiny part of their portfolio. So for example, for myself, let's say if I've got, let's just make the numbers easy. Let's say if I've got $100,000, that's $100,000 in the market. So if I've got $100,000 in the market, you may only be trading or using options for like $10,000 of that. That's very sloppy. There we go. And that means the other 90,000 long-term stocks, ETFs, index funds, things of that nature. This is real life what actually happens. And if you got $10,000 in options, you can look, I made $5,000 today. Guess what I can do with that? And this gets a lot of the attention. This right here, That gets a lot of attention, and most people aren't paying attention to this. Whereas, like, yes, you made that money, but you didn't tell us that that wasn't all of your money, and that wasn't the vast majority of what you were doing. So just know that anytime you may see it on Instagram, know that they got other stuff too, and that is very rare that the options is all and the end all be all. A lot of times they'll do options, they'll make the money, and they put in their long term stuff. And again, that's all well and fine. There's actually nothing wrong with that. I would suggest if you are going to do options, number one, make sure it fits for you. Okay, not everybody is built for options. It took me a very long time to be okay with options because y'all know me. I sit, I wait, I make my money, I brag about it. When I tell you, the whole "I told you so" stuff. And then I go on about my business, but I don't have to sit here and stare at my account every single day. Option trading, you got to be a lot more careful, and you got to be a lot more fortuitous, I guess. Have some fortitude when you see that red. So not for everybody, but you guys asked for it, so I wanted to give it to you. These are just two strategies that I like and two strategies that I use, as opposed to the dozens and dozens and dozens of strategies out there. But again, you don't see many in real life millionaires that have the vast majority of their money in options and they do well on a very consistent basis. There are a few, but when you look at any survey of millionaires, you ask, what are you investing your money in? The vast majority are going to say this here, plus real estate, plus business. That's where the big money is. This is the exciting money, but it's not the vast majority. All right, so if you got questions, let me know. I'll be in the comments as well. Like and share the video. I know it's a little bit longer than what we typically do. I know it's a lot more math than what we typically do, but y'all asked for this. but I'm a man of the people. Want to give y'all what you guys asked for, and then kind of explain like why people gravitate to it, because monthly income from the stock market, that sounds great, and it is great. Being able to invest smaller amounts of money, getting larger profits, that's good too. Even if you have, scrolling up here, $150 a trade, right? You're looking at, you do this 4 times a year, that's an extra $600 a month. That's not bad. That's not bad at all, right? Like that for some people in some places, well, not many places, but that's almost rent in some places, in some, not all. And that's only 4 trades a year. If you have more money, let's say 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, you might be able to pay rent by doing that 4 times a year, right? Like that's pretty attractive if you're only spending $2,000, $3,000 a month, as opposed to 10 or 15 or $20,000. So that's just an example, just out there. But this is what options are. Go back and review the video if you need to. So this one, parts 1, 2, and 3, because I know if it's new to you, it is very difficult. It took me a while when I came into this business and came to the stock market to understand like what options were and how they work. So watch the video once, watch it twice, watch it 3 times if you need to, and then ask questions. Ask questions or comments, DM me if you're on Instagram or anywhere else. Say, look, I didn't get this part. Why? So feel free to let me know. All right, that's it for me today. I will see y'all tomorrow. We'll talk about anything that happens in the stock market, which is quite interesting times. All right, so I will see y'all later. Make sure you watch and share and do all those amazing things, and I'll talk to y'all later.